amid a storm, sharp sleet dips icy cones, ragged on the trembling windows of the maypole. If you don't come in 5 minutes, sir, I shall have supper without you.
To be sure, Solomon is very late. Very late, to be sure. But away, I suppose. Hear that? There'll be many broken branches upon the ground tomorrow.
It won't break anything in the maypole, sir. Let it try. What's that?
The wind.
Did you, sir, ever hear the wind say, Maypole?
Well, what man ever did?
Nor all
No.
either of them. If either of you two gentlemen like to go out and see what the matter is, you can. I'm not curious myself. What's the matter? Or I'll kill you. How dare you look like that? Say something, or I'll be the death of you, I will.
Oh, Johnny. Oh, Martha, Johnny, come. Give me something to drink. Oh, my house door. Why did I ever leave this house tonight? All night to the year the 19th of March.
I looked it up and you mean by that.
I have never gone alone into church after dark on this day for 27 years. They say that as the women keep their birthdays, so the ghosts uneasy in their graves keep their death days. Go on. Was it by accident that on this day I forgot to wind the church clock? I made as much haste as I could from here, but the wind and rain being dead against me, it's all I could do to keep my legs. I got there at last, opened the church door, mounted the clock. And as I took up my lantern to leave, I heard a voice rising from among the graves. What did it say? It gave a kind of cry. As any one of us might have something dreadful fallen us in a dream and came upon us unawares. And then it died off, seeming to pass quite round the church.
I don't see much in that.
But that's not all.
What more sights to come?
What I saw.
Saw?
I opened the church door, turned my head, and there crossed me something in the likeness of a man, bareheaded to the storm and fixed his eyes on mine. Ah! It was a ghost! A spirit! Whose was it? Whose?
Gentlemen, you needn't ask the likeness of a murdered man. Such tales would not be like the Gomorrah. Let us keep it to ourselves, for we may get into trouble and Solomon may lose his place. Whether it is as he says, or was it, it's no matter. Right or wrong, nobody will be leaving. After all had left, old John got his ideas into focus on Solomon Daisy's story. The more he thought about it, the more impressed he became with the desire that Mr. Haredale should be towed by himself. He determined to repair to the warren before going to bed. He's my landlord, and the whispering about this here tale will anger me. It is good to have confidence with a gentleman of his nature, and settle himself right besides. Hello, man! Hugh! Hugh! Hello!
Can't a man even have his own sleep in quiet?
Wrap yourself up at once, for you must go as far as to the warren with me, and look sharp about it.
Well, you don't take a man out near midnight such weather, do you,
Yes,
master?
I do, sir. So hold up this light, and go on before to show the way.
At length, they stood upon a broad, gravelled rock before the warren house. The building was profoundly dark.
The old bloodstained room! It's the ruin's own apartment. Oh, God, be with us. It's a wonder his brother likes to sit there so late. And on this night, too.
Why? It's snug enough, ain't it?
Snug? Do you know what was done in that room, you ruffian?
It's a worse for that, because a man was killed there.
Oh, Miss Hale, didn't mean to wake you, miss. Thought I might have a word with your uncle.
He's upstairs, Mr. Willett. Awake, I'm certain, but he's leaving alone with all day. Perhaps you should return.
Where is my dear girl? Why didn't the servants answer? Oh, begging your pardon, sir. You told me you wanted to stay up late, so I made bold to come around. Having a word to say to you. You need to rouse your knees.
Willett, is it not? What is the matter, man?
Nothing to speak of, sir. At least not before the young lady here. And I will tell. Nothing more than no words. Nothing more.
I'll hear you then. Back to bed.
Good night, Uncle. Please sleep yourself soon. You think of too many dark things on this night. You must let go of past heartaches.
Those whom we love are not so easily released from our hearts, as I'm sure you well know. So they come in. Not you, friend. Willett, why did you bring that fellow here?
Why, he's in the guard, you see.
There is no good there, be assured.
When Hugh was shot out, Mr. Willett recited all that he had heard and said that night.
The story moved his auditor much more than he had expected. You did well to bid them keep the story a secret. It is a foolish fancy on the part of this weak-brained man, bred in fears and superstitions. But Miss Haredale would be quite disturbed by it if it were to reach her ears. I thank you.
What do you mean by such a bow before gentlemen, sir?
Or even a wet dog may bow master. How about this on half for the young lady, and to the Lord of it all.
Lights! Next afternoon, on the 20th of March, there was a knock at the house door of Lord George Gordon, Member of Parliament in Welbeck Street, London. A rather unorthodox visitor was left with luxurious hallways until presently he knocked on the office door as his secretary. Enter!
Your servant, master. Master Gashford, ain't it?
Right, friend, what brings you here?
Nothing but that, master. Found it wrapped around a stone outside on the ground outside the Maypole Inn. Cheapwell. Found a good answer, you see.
What is this? When did you get it, other fellow?
Tells the man that finds it to come here, don't it? I'm no scholar myself, but I showed it to a friend and he said it did. To every Protestant into whose hands it shall
Whoever
come.
shall find this letter shall take it as warning to join without delay the friends of Lord Gordon. There are great events at hand, and times are dangerous and troubled for king and country. Union. Well, rather.
I want to make one against the Catholics. I'm a no-poker man, and ready to be sworn in.
First, you must understand, my good fellow, that the Great Protestant Association seeks to prevent Parliament from abolishing, 1, the penal laws against Roman Catholic priests, 2, the penalty of imprisonment for those who educate children in that persuasion, and 3, the disqualification of members of the Roman Catholic Church from inherit property in the United Kingdom. Ah, the airs are filled, my good friend, with whispers of confederacy among the popish powers. Such terrors and alarms have been broached by our wise and good leader, Lord Gordon. Thus, when one joins the GPA, one joins in the defense of religion, life, and liberty.
And I do hear boss where to join in.
Very good. Very good. Well, our business being settled, you must forgive me
Or both. Aye.
And bless Lord Gordon.
Aye. That too. Bless his lordship, no popery. Being now self-righteously thirsty, Hugh thought he should prepare himself to the Boot Tavern, where he knew there was a good Protestant company and strong liquor.
You repeatedly drank the lad voice too.
The health of Lord George Gordon!
The boot also contained a small detachment of led by our old acquaintance,
Mr. Simon Tappertit.
He was attended by former apprentice knights.
Like himself now emancipated from his apprentice thraldom.
And to aspire to a distinguished state in great political events.
Hence their connection with the GPA.
And hence their present visit to the boot.
Gentlemen! Well met. My Lord Gordon does you and me both the honour to send his compliments herself.
You see, my lord, too, haven't you? Oh, been there myself this afternoon. I hate the papists. Every one of them. They do me all the harm they can, and I'll do me all the harm.
I said, haven't I seen you before?
I don't know. I shouldn't wonder.
Well, did you ever see me before? You wouldn't be soon to forget it, you know. If you ever did. Oh, look at me. So do you. Don't you know me, fella?
Not I, but I should like to.
I'd have wagered that you were once a hostler at the Maple. Don't you know me now?
Why, it ain't.
You remember G. Varden Locksmith, don't you? Down there to the Golden Key, our shop, before I was out of my time, to ask after that vagabond Joe Willis who choked it off and left his disconsolate father, don't you?
Of course I do, and I saw you there.
I remember when I found you detested the villain worse than poison. I went to drink with you.
To be sure! You're
I say, you never heard anything more of that rascal, I suppose,
not a syllable. He's dead long ago, I hope.
Aye.
It is to be hoped for the happiness of mankind and the happiness of society in general that he is.
Here's my leader! Give me the word of command, and I'll fight the whole Parliament House sitting more angry! And I did talk to the King's throne itself! Oh, I forgot, Captain. I have somebody to see tonight. Our renewed acquaintance and the drinking put it out of my head.
Well, then I give you permission to depart.
Good night, Captain. I'm yours till the death. Remember,
Be bold and vigilant.
no popery, Captain!
England and blood first. That man shall prove to be a credit to my call. And when the locksmith's child Teotali is mine, Miggs must be gotten rid of somehow. I shall poison the tea kettle one night when I'm out. He might marry Miggs, if he were drunk enough. It shall be done. I'll make a note of it.
Lights. Though it was very late indeed when Hugh found his way to the lodgings of Sir Master, and even later still when he had convinced the sleepy and suspicious porter that he was to be expected. Hugh found himself standing in his usual way that Thursday evening.
Oh, it's you, is it? Come in.
Yes, he was now Sir John. But how?
Nothing so simple or so easy.
One touch with the sword of state.
And the transformation was effective.
John Chester, Esquire, attended court. Such elegance of manner, so many graces of deportment, such powers of conversation could never go unnoticed. He caught the fancy of the king, knelt round a brother.
And rose a butterfly.
John Chester, Esquire, was knighted and became Sir John and an MP, Member of Parliament.
I thought when you left me this afternoon, my esteemed acquaintance, that you intended to return for dispatch.
So I did, master.
So you have. Is that what you would say?
I've only done as you have ordered.
As I what? When you say that I ordered you, my good fellow, you imply that I directed you to do something for me, something for my ends and purposes. You see, instead of wondering why it's been so long, my wonder should be why it came at all.
You know, master, I couldn't read the bill I had found, and supposing it to be something particular, I brought it here.
You could ask no one else to read it, Bruin.
No one will entrust the secrets, master. Since Barnaby Rudge was lost sight of a good law 5 years ago, I haven't talked to anyone but you. I've come to and from, master, all that time because I wished to please you if I could, and to not have you go against me.
Didn't you give me in this room earlier today any other reason, no dislike of anybody who has slighted you lately, abused you, acted towards you as if you were a mongrel dog than a man like himself?
To be sure, I did. I'd do anything to have revenge on him. Haredale. Anything. And when you told me that he and all the Catholics would suffer under those who joined together under that handbill, I said I'd make one of them. I am one of them. He shall see my bark is nothing to my bite.
So, you've joined those fellows then. There, get you gone. You have made a pretty evening's work. You'll have the opportunity of revenging yourself on your proud friend Haredale. And for that, you'd hazard anything, I suppose?
I would. Let me pay off old scores and bold wives with better men to stand by me, and then it don't matter much to me what the end is.
I do fear exceedingly that my friend is following fast in the footsteps of his hanged mother. It's no business of mine.
Lights.
In the upstairs drawing room of his home and workshop at Golden Key, Gabriel Varden made preparation for his day's militia duty with the Royal East London Volunteers. Time was now, I remember, when I was like to run mad with a desire to wear a coat of that color.
A man in your time of life, Barton, should know better now.
Why, what a ridiculous woman you are.
Certainly, I know that, Barton. Of course I am. Thank you.
I mean...
I know what you mean. You speak quite plain enough to be understood, Barton.
Tut, tut, Martha. I mean, how strange it is of you running down there volunteering when it's done to defend you and all the other women and our fireside and everybody else's in case of need.
It's unchristian.
Unchristian? Why, what the devil?
Oh, yes, please do, Barton. By all means, go on and blaspheme as much as possible. You know how I like it.
I was going to say, Martha, what would be most unchristian is to sit down quietly and let our houses be sacked by a foreign army, or to turn out like Ben and drive them off. Shouldn't I be the nice sort of Christian if I crept into the corner of my own chimney and looked on while a parcel of whiskered savages bored off Dolly? Were you?
In such a state of things as that, indeed.
Here she is at last. Oh, and how well you look, doll. And how late you are, doll.
How glad I always am to be at home again.
I can't bear you to have you at my side. I don't like you at the war. Now, what is this news I hear over yonder, doll?
Come, come. You know very well. I want you to tell me why Mr. Haredale, oh, how gruffy is again to be sure, has been away from home, travelling about without telling his own niece why or wherefore.
Miss Emma doesn't want to know, I'll swear.
What is this ghost story, which no one is to tell Miss Emma, and which seems to be mixed up in his going away?
I know no more than you, my dear. As to Haredale's journey, he goes, as I believe,
Yes.
on business, doll. What a maid he is quite another matter. Read Bluebeard, and don't be too curious, Matt.
Lord George Gordon's speeches would be a greater comfort to her.
Indeed! I would recommend all those whose hearts harden to hear Lord George. His steady Protestantism, his oratory, his eyes, his nose, his legs. Fit for any statue, prince, or angel.
Oh. You, Varden, have never dropped anything into that great donation box for the great Protestants. And you, Johnny, were better loving to purchase ribbons and such gauds than to encourage the great cause. You, communicate the bright example of Miggs, who flings her wages, as it were, into the very countenance of the Pope, and bruises his features with her quarters.
Oh, Mim, don't relate to that. I have no intentions, Mim, that nobody should know. It's all that I have, but it's well paid up in other ways. It's well paid up.
And it's crime. You needn't be ashamed of it, though your poor mistress is on the same side.
I know that master hates me. But as I am hated and looked upon unpleasant, perhaps my dying will be best for both parties. Can you bear this, Varden?
Why, not very well, my dear. But I try to keep my temper. What are you crying for, girl? I don't hate you. Dry your eyes and make yourself agreeable in heaven's name. I never wore the sash, but I think of poor young Joe Willett. Run off to be a soldier. I loved Joe. He was always a favorite of mine. Poor Joe. Ah. Old John made a great mistake in his way of acting by that lad. A great mistake.
Never mind, young Willett, Joe. We might have someone more deserving to talk about. Even Mr. Edward Chester, whose newly knighted father he escaped from. Was a royal member of the Protestant Church. Aye, and broke dear Emma Haredale's heart, Catholic though it may be.
Nay, don't let us bad too hard on Mr. Edward, or on poor young Joe, Martha. If the lad is dead indeed, we'll deal kindly by his memory.
A runaway and a vagabond.
A runaway, dear, but not a vagabond. Joe tried to give you a good opinion, Martha, I can tell you. It seemed but yesterday that he followed me out to the Maypole door one night. How's Miss Dolly? Said Joe. He always behaved himself well, and was a kind and manly and handsome fellow.
Why? If it ain't Miss Dolly giving away a flood of tears.
Is Dolly ill?
No. Oh, I had no patience with you.
What have I done? Every man was put onto this world for something. My department seems to into lines, squares, circles, triangles, and whatnot, to the beating of drums and to the streaming of flags, all of which Sergeant Varden bore a conspicuous share. It was 9 o'clock when the locksmith reached home. The sight of you is good for sore eyes, sir. Have you just come back in town?
Half an hour ago.
No news of Barnaby? Or his mother? I feared that. You exhausted all reasonable means of discovery when they went away. To begin again after a long time has passed is hopeless, sir.
Father, my good fellow, I have a deeper meaning in my present anxiety to find him out than you can fathom. I have no rest, no peace or quiet. I am haunted since the night of the storm, the last 19th of March. You know, Mrs. Rudge's house has been shut up since she went away. I am on my way there now.
For what purpose, sir?
To pass the coming nights there. This is a secret which I entrust to you in case of any unexpected emergency. Emma, your daughter, and the rest suppose me out of London. Do not undeceive them. I rely upon you questioning me no further at this time. The two men parted, Gabriel entering his own home, and Mr. Haredale continuing on to the vacant Rudge house. He spent the next several weeks there, and never, varied his proceedings. Then, one night, as he had resumed his solitary watch and sat, his sword and pistol close at hand, ghost, dead and buried through your infernal arts as all men suppose, but saved by heaven for this. At last I have you. You whose hands are red with my brother's blood, and that of his faithful servant, his gardener, shed to conceal your own atrocious guilt. You, double murderer and monster, I arrest you in the name of God who has delivered you into my hands tonight. No. Though you had the strength of 20 men, you could not escape me or loosen my grasp tonight.
Life!
In a small English country town, under an assumed name and living in quiet poverty, dwelt Barnaby and his mother. To labour in peace and devote her life to her poor son was all the widow sought.
For Barnaby, time has passed him like the wind. The daily subterfuge had shed no bright gleam of reason on his mind.
Their hut stood on the outskirts of town, but in a secluded place, where few chance passengers strayed. One summer's night in June, they were in their little garden, resting from the labours of the day. Barnaby's raven Grip hunted unwary grasshoppers.
Brave evening, mother. We had chinking in our pockets but a few specks of that gold which is piled up yonder in the sky. We should be rich for life.
We are better as we are.
Aye, but gold's a good thing to have, mother. You can drive too much with gold, be sure of that.
Oh, what would you do?
What? Well, the world of things, we dress finely. You and I are not grim. Wear bright colors and feathers, keep horses and dogs, live delicately in that reach, or we find uses for it, mother.
You do not know what men have done to win it, and how they have found too late that it glitters brightest at a distance and turns quite dim and dull when handled.
Aye, aye, so you say, so you think. For all that, I should like to try.
Nothing bears so many stains of blood as gold. Avoid it. No such cause to hate its name as we have. But do not so much as think of it, hereof.
Blessing on those voices. I feel the beauty of the night more keenly when I hear them. Will they speak again into the heart of a poor old traveller?
Have you wandered far, and with no guide?
A weary way and long. Be pleased to let me have a drop of water, lady.
Why do you call me lady? I am as poor as you. You speak yourself in general. I judge by that.
Come round this way! Put your hand in mine!
blind and always in the dark, eh? Have you frightened in the dark? Do you see great clouds of faces now? They grin and chatter.
How have you found your way so far?
Use and necessity are good teachers.
You have wandered from the road, too.
Thank you more for this rest and this refreshing drink.
Might I make so bold as to ask that one might lay this out for me in bread in the village to keep me on my way?
It's best none of the young feet that bestir themselves to my aid. There are two kinds of blindness, widow. There is a physical blindness, and then there is a blindness of intellect, of which we have a specimen in your interesting son, which is not to be trusted in total darkness. Madam, my name is Sam. A friend of mine who's had the desire of meeting with you any time these past 5 years has commissioned me to call upon you. I'd be happy to whisper that gentleman's name in red.
You need not repeat it. I see too well from whom you come. What do you want?
We are poor, widow. We are poor.
Poor. And what am I?
I don't know. I don't care! I say that we are poor. My friend's circumstances are different, and so am I. We must have a rights, widow. We must be bought off.
Is he near here?
Shall I call him?
Oh, not for the world.
As you please. Both he and I must live. We must eat. We must drink. We must have money.
Do you know how pinched and destitute I am?
You are very poor now, it is your own choice. You have friends who are always ready to help you. My friend is in a more destitute and desolate situation than most men, and, feeling together, he naturally looks to you to assist him. He has borne in life with me a long time. You have always had a roof over your head. He has always been an outcast. You have your son to comfort and assist you. He has nobody at all. He bears you no malice, ma'am. In fact, I think even if you disappointed him now, he consent to take charge of your son and make a man out of him. The annuity can surely get that sum for him. Don't send him hastily. Think of it a while. £20 of other people's money. How easy. Come on, lads. Sit down and drink. While I carry some comfort, you see. Taste that. Is that good? You don't taste anything like that often, eh?
Often, never.
Oh, too poor. Your mother, poor soul, would be happier if she were richer, Barnaby.
Why, the very thing I told you just before you came tonight when all that gold was piled up yonder in the sky. Tell me, is there any way of being rich that I could find out?
100 ways.
Aye, what are they? Nay, mother, it is for your sake I ask, not mine. What are they?
They're not to be found by stay-at-homes, my good friend.
By stay-at-homes? But I am not one. I am often up before the sun, and I travel home when he has gone to rest. I try to find him on the grass and lost some of that small money for which mother has worked so hard and used to shed so many tears. Tell me, where is it? I go there every journey where a whole year long because I know she would be happier when I came home and brought some with me.
It's in the world, poor Barnaby. In crowds where there's noise and rattle.
Yes, I love that. Oh, Rick loves it too. It's you just spoke. That's great.
In places that a young man likes, and that a good son may do more for his mother there, and himself to boot, in a month than he could here in all his life. That is, if he had a friend, you know, someone to advise with.
Do you hear this, mother?
Have you no answer, widow? Is your mind not made up yet? Let me speak with you apart. Courage, boy Barnaby. We'll talk more of this. I have a fancy for you. Where shall I come back?
You are a fit aged and well represent the man who sent you here. First, answer me one question. You say he has left London. Is he close at hand?
The truth is, widow, that he's making a longer stay there and might have had disagreeable consequences. He's come away for that reason.
These are the savings of 5 years. 6 guineas. If you can take them due on the condition that you leave this place upon the instant.
6 guineas falls very short of £20, widow.
For such a sum, as you know, I must write to a distant part of the country, and to do that and receive an answer, I must have time. A week. Return here on this day week at the same hour.
On this day week at sunset. And think of your son.
Mother, what is the matter? Where is the blind man? Gone. Where did he take? I don't know.
You must not go out tonight. There are ghosts and dreams abroad.
Aye.
It is not safe to stir. We must leave this place tomorrow.
This place? The cottage in the little garden, Mother.
Yes, tomorrow at sunrise. We must travel to London, lose ourselves in that wide place, and travel on again and find some new abode.
Wait.
One evening, shortly before twilight, Mr. Haredale came up his accustomed road along the river bank, intending to pass through Westminster Hall.
There was a pretty large concourse of people assembled round the House of Parliament.
Mr. Haredale heard once or twice the no popery cry,
No popery.
which was becoming pretty familiar to the ears of most men. Mr. Haredale had almost traversed the hall when he caught the attention of 2 men before him.
Haredale! This is strange indeed. 1 minute, Haredale. For the sake of old acquaintance.
I am in haste. Good night.
Oh, fine, fine. How very churlish. We were speaking of you. You know our friend here, Haredale.
Mr. Gashford. It is as I have heard then. You have left the darkness for the light, and hate those whose opinions you once formerly held. We Catholics, with all the bitterness of a renegade. You are an honor, sir, to any cause.
Now, really, this is a most remarkable meeting.
Mr. Haredale is too conscientious, too honest, I am sure. But I only noticed an honourable change of opinions, even though it implies a doubt and makes it of himself. Mr. Haredale is too just, too generous, too clear-sighted in his moral visions.
Yes, sir. You were saying?
Haredale, my dear friend, here we stand. 3 old schoolfellows in Westminster Hall. 3 old boarders at a seminary in Saint-Omer, where you 2, being Catholics, and of necessity educated out of England, were brought up, where I, being a promising young Protestant at the time, was sent to learn the French tongue.
Add to the singularity, Sir John, that some of you Protestants of promise are at this moment leagued in yonder chamber to prevent our having the privilege of teaching our children to read and write. Here, in this land, where thousands of us enter your military service every year, and to preserve the freedom of which we die in bloody battles abroad, in peace. And there's even more of you, to the number of some thousands I learn, line,
are led on to
look upon members of my creed as wolves and beasts of prey by this man Gashford and Lord Gordon.
You are very hard upon our friend.
Let him go, Sir John. I am honoured with your good opinion. I can dispense with Mr. Haredale's. Mr. Haredale is a sufferer of the penal laws. I can't expect his good favour.
You have so much of my favour, sir, that I am glad to see you in such good company.
That's right.
You are the essence of your great association in yourselves.
Now, there you mistake. I do not belong to the body. I have immense respect for its members, but I do not belong to it.
I beg your pardon, Sir John, for having ranked you among the humble instruments who are obvious in all men's sight. Men of your capacity plot in secrecy and in safety, and leave the exposed posts to the duller wits.
Don't apologize for the world. Old friends like you and I may be allowed some freedom.
Is it not enough, Sir John, that I, as good a man as you, must hold my property by a trick at which the state connives because of these hard laws? And must we be renounced and ridden by such men as this? Here is a man to head your no-popery cry. For shame!
I cannot speak with you, sir. We have nothing in common.
We have much in common. All that the Almighty gave us, and common charity, not to mention common sense and common decency, should teach you to refrain from these proceedings.
Oh, really, you are very, very hard upon our friend.
Mr. Haredale, without any leave-taking, turned away.
But the throng of evil following his way.
At first, some indistinct mutterings rose among them.
No popery.
Followed by a hiss or two. One voice said,
Down with the pipe!
Another man cried out. And another in a stentorian voice.
No popery!
Who did that? Show me the man who hit me. Dog, was it you? It was your deed, if not your hand. I know you. Draw, dog. Sir John, Gashford, draw, one of you. Are you men?
Friend, my good head! You're blinded by passion. It's very natural, extremely natural, but you don't know friends from foes.
I know them all. I can distinguish well. Draw, one of you, do you hear me? Are you cowards?
Sir, never mind asking that. What can you do against this number? You'd be giddy from the first cut and the first heat of a scuffle. Come, sir. Vacate as quick as you can. Oh.
Master Gashford. Why, who'd have thought on this here honor? What's doing now, Master? Any orders from headquarters?
Nothing. Nothing. Broke the ice, though, in a little spurt today, eh?
Aye, a very little one. I know that for enough for me.
Brave fellow. By the by, who threw that stone? It was well done. I should like to know that, man. You saw how I fell when I was set on. I made no resistance. I did nothing to provoke an outbreak.
Oh, you went down very quiet, Master Gashford. And very flat besides. He's a rough one to play with, is that a papist? And that's a fact.
Or rather, my Lord Gordon consigns you with the pleasant task of punishing Mr. Haredale. Do with him and his as you like, provided you show no mercy, no quarter, and leave no two beams of this house standing with a builder place them. You may sap it, burn it, do with it as you like, but it must come down. It must be razed to the ground, and he and all belonging to him left as shelterless as newborn infants who no mothers have exposed. Do you understand?
Understand you, Master. Used to be playing now. Why, this is hearty.
I'm glad.
This looks a little more like business.
Lights!
The following dawn, Mary and Barnaby Rudge closed the door of their deserted home and turned away.
Their stock of money was low, but from the hoard the widow had had told into the blind man's hand, the widow had withheld 1 guinea.
They were soon sitting in a wagon which was to take them within 10 miles of the capital.
Yeah!
Mother, we're going to London first, you said. Shall we see the blind man there?
No, I think not. Why do you ask?
Well, he's a wise man. What was it that he said of crowds? That gold was to be found where people crowded and not among the trees and in such quiet places. London is a crowded place. I think we shall see him there.
But why do you desire to see him, Mom?
Because he talked about gold and saying what you will, a thing he would like to have, I know.
The driver was punctual, the road good, and at the forenoon of that Friday, the wagon stopped right in front of the Westminster Bridge in London.
They were soon bewildered by the crowd of people who were already astir.
And soon became aware that a vast throng of persons were crossing the river in unusual haste and evident excitement.
Nearly every man wore in his hat a blue cockade.
Good sir, what is the meaning of all these people?
Why, haven't you heard of Lord George Gordon's great protestation, man? This is the day that he presents his petition against the Catholics. God bless him.
But what have all these men to do with that?
His lordship has declared that he won't present it to the house at all unless it is attended to the door of 40,000 good true men at least. Now there's a crowd for you.
Crowd, you hear? Do you hear this, mother?
There'll be a good many faces that'll turn pale in the House of Commons when good Lord George gets up there this afternoon, and we'll good reason to.
Mother, that's a brave crowd. He talks so come.
I'm not to join it.
Yes, why not?
You don't know what mischief they may do, where they may lead you, what their meaning is. Dear Barnaby, for my sake.
For your sake? Well, it is for your sake. You remember what the blind man said about gold. Here's a brave crowd. Come.
Young man, why do you not wear the ornament today? Oh, pray, in heaven's name, do not give it him. Speak for yourself, woman. Leave the young man to his choice of whether he will wear the sign of a proud Englishman or not.
Yes, I will.
Well, then make haste to St. George's Field. Do you not know that the hour for assembly was 10 o'clock? Well, he cannot tell you, sir. We just arrived this morning from a long distance in the country. I thank God for it.
Amen.
No, you do not understand, sir. We have no business in these matters. We have no desire or right to join in what you are about to do. This is my son. My poor, afflicted son, who is dearer to me than life itself. In mercy's name, sir, go your way alone, and do not tempt him into danger. Have you the heart to say this of your own son, unnatural mother? Well, this is a sad picture of female depravity. And with regard to this young man, he is as sensible and self-possessed as anyone I ever saw. And you wish to make one of this great body. You desired to make one, did you?
Yes, to be sure I did. I told her so myself.
Oh, I see. I thought so. Follow me and you shall have your wish. The widows strove breathlessly to keep their rapid pace as they crossed quickly over the bridge road and presently arrived at St. George's Fields.
Here, an immense multitude was collected, bearing flags, all blue like the cockades. Then, they burst into a tremendous shout, and the air seemed rent and shaken as if by the discharge of a cannon.
It is a noble day for England, for the great cause around the world. Now we will find a place in some division for this new recruit.
Oh, now, Barnaby Rudge, where have you been hiding these 100 years?
What?
What the colour do you? Well done.
You know this man, I see.
Oh, my lord, as well as I know my own right hand, my captain knows him, we all know him.
Will you take him into your division? I must proceed to Westminster to seek the glorious news of Lord Gordon's petition.
Ollie Barnaby, he shall march, Master Gashford, and he shall carry the Barnaby's the greatest man of the pack. His flag's the largest of the lot, and the brightest too. All eyes are turned on me. Here, I'll explain.
Oh, I wish I could see her somewhere. She would be proud indeed to see me now, I do. It wouldn't make me glad to see me at the head of this dog show. Oh, I know she'd cry for joy. I know she would. Can't she be?
You're talking of your mother. Look here, lad. She's not here to be seen. It's because I've sent half a dozen gentlemen to take her instead to grand old house, all hung with gold and silver banners. But she'll wait till you come and walk right out.
Oh, I have you in faith. That's fine. Thank you.
There was nothing compared to what will come, bless you.
Come again.
All the fine things that I'll ever will or shall be will be ours, if we are true to the gentleman Lord Gordon,
The greatest man in the whole world. But you only have to carry our bags for a few days and keep it safe. That's all we gotta do.
Oh, I want to keep this one safe then. You're putting in good hands and you're me too.
Well said. Nobody said.
It was between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the crowds met at Westminster. The noise and uproar of the entries everywhere, and the crowd raged and roared like a
Well, safe, old boy. Stay inside there safe with safe, okay? Forget the love of bread.
News from my lord.
Gentlemen, we must be firm. They talk of delays, but we must have no delays. They talk of taking your petition into consideration. Next Tuesday. Having considered now. Present proceedings look bad for success, but we must succeed and will. I'm afraid, gentlemen, that we have little reason to hope for any redress from the proceedings of Parliament. But the alarm has gone forth for many miles round, and I am certain
I'll
that this
justify, sir, and I oppose this petition in all your proceedings. The armed soldiers that you see behind me and I will protect the freedom of this place with swords, bayonets, and rifles. You see, citizens, the members of the House are surrounded and protected by the military and militia. If a man among the crowd crosses the threshold of the House, I swear to run my sword straight into his body. All face arrest under the Riot Act, unless you disperse at once.
Why go back? One good rush against them, that'll do the business. Rush on then! Let those stand back who are afraid. Let those who are not be the first to pass through that their public doorway.
When several groups of men who formed part of the crowd came straggling in.
Among them, Simon Tappertit. Well, do you consider this a good beginning, friend?
Give me a prayer that ain't ended. When that soldier went down by Barnaby's hand, we might have been nothing else. But no! Our people skulls away like a pack of takers as they are! Where's Barnaby? Where's Barnaby?
Oh, you are here then? Dear me, the streets are filled with blue cockades. I rather thought you might have been among them. I'm glad you are not.
Mr. Chester, Mr. Gashford, we belong to the cause, don't we?
I suppose. The petition has been rejected by 192 to 6. It's quite final.
We might have spared ourselves some trouble. That, my lord's vexation, the only circumstances I regret. I'm quite satisfied in all other respects.
What would you have us do, master?
Nothing. Nothing. When my lord was reproached and threatened for standing by you, I, as a prudent man, would have had you do nothing. When soldiers were shooting down your compatriots and trampling them under their horses' hooves, I would have had you do nothing. When a valiant one of them was struck down by a daring hand, and I saw confusion, dismay in all their faces, I would have had you do nothing. Just what you did, in short.
That young man who had so little prudence and so much boldness, Barnaby Rudge, I believe, though I wasn't present at the sordid affair. Oh, I am sorry for him.
Sorry for him.
You can hear, perhaps. He's been duly arrested and faces hanging for his defiance of the right act.
Yes, and there should be some proclamation out tomorrow offering £500 or some such trifle for the apprehension of the other man who assisted in General Conway's assault. Still, I would have you do nothing.
Fire and fury, master. What have we done that you should talk to us like this?
Nothing. If my centaur you are cast into prison, if the young man has been dragged from you, and from his friends, people whom he loves and whom his death will kill, is thrown into jail, brought out and hanged before their eyes, still do nothing.
You'll find it your best policy, I've no doubt.
Come on. Captain, come on.
Where? To do what?
Anywhere, anything. Stand aside, Captain, or follow.
You are of such impetuous nature, you're such an excitable creature.
I hear the men who are loitering the streets tonight are half disposed to pull down a Romish chapel or two, and that they only want leaders.
No jails and halters for Barnaby and me.
Yes, right.
They shall be frightened out of that.
Yes.
Leaders are wanted, are they? Now, boys!